essentially he was saying like if women could have the man of their dreams, that's who they would choose. Fine. But his analogy metaphor, because I don't remember which specific, but was, oh, if a what would you choose to be homeless if you could have a house? Here's the thing. I said if being single is homeless, being getting a house is not a relationship. That's a marriage. I was like, renting an apartment would be a relationship. Because if single is for the streets, aka homeless, fine. Then in a relationship would be an apartment because it's renting, it's temporary, there's no guarantee. Buying a house with a 20 to 30-year mortgage is a marriage. Hello, beautiful people and fellow whiners, and welcome to another episode of A Little Something, the number two. Don't you do it. Wine About with your host, Siobhan Camille,
Anti-A Michelle.
where sips get real and we wine while we whine about life, relationships, culture, and so much more over a glass of wine every Wednesdays at noon. Come see us on YouTube. Okay. This here is fourth Wednesday, and this is for the culture, you know,
Oh yeah, hold up. I wasn't ready. Wait.
for the culture.
Mhm.
And we're gonna be talking about the importance of marriage. Okay? We're gonna talk about that today. There's a reason that this is the topic. We're gonna talk about it. This is still the season of love, so we're gonna talk about marriage. Okay? So grab a glass of your favorite red, whites, rosé, Pinot de Agua, and join us on the couch.
Hey y'all. I hope y'all's Valentine's Day, Day of Love, Galentine's, Felentines, Guyentines, whatever. All that stuff went well. I hope you got it in. I hope you got a little bit of love. I hope you got a little bit of attention. I hope you got everything that you needed from this day, from that day, not this day, that day. And if you didn't, better luck next year. Um,
Wow.
sorry. I
All
don't
right.
know what to tell you. I'm sorry. And that wasn't like in a heartless way. That was just saying, we'll try next year, I guess. Or not. Your decision. Doesn't matter. So this is the part of the show where we have our popping grapes experience. So we're going to talk to you about the wines that we are planning to sip while we talk about this wonderful here discussion of love and the marriage.
That was a good show. That was a good show.
I wasn't a huge fan.
I like that show.
I think I like
Not the later
song.
seasons, but later seasons always get things go downhill, but the early ones are fun.
My parents weren't really fans of it either, you know. So we were more of your wholesome comedy, wholesome shows. And that wasn't wholesome.
It's not.
Yeah, so I think I got old enough to tolerate it as I got, but it wasn't something I'm like, oh, I'm running home to go, or I'm staying up late to go see, because you wasn't running home to go see it because it didn't come on that early.
I was about to say that was like a 9-10 o'clock.
Yeah, that was your butt behind should have been in the bed anyway. Type show. But we're gonna talk about that while we're gonna talk about our wine situation that we're gonna be drinking on. I'll go first. This is called Sweet Wine Lowly. Y'all, I can't read.
It's the disclaimer for me, guys. What? I can't read.
It is a smooth, sweet red blend with a fruity finish. 8.5 alcohol by volume. It's a sweet red from California.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I got it because it says sweet is red, right in cursive, love.
Okay, so mine is a Floralisa. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's a Pinot Grigio by Floralisa, made with organic grapes. I guess that's a big thing now to like announce. It's from Italy. Y'all know. This is a 12.5 ABV, so it's gonna be a good time.
Gonna be a
Listen,
good.
Italy, what I've learned, they got some high ABVs. Because all my wines have been them this month. Although the sweet red was low. It was like 5.5, but yeah. This one I got, well, I didn't pick this out. It was picked out for me. But if you look at the bottle, it's a lady in flowers, because that's what Florida means, flowers. So, flowers, love, give flowers. If the person's not allergic, don't give flowers if they're allergic. that might not end how you want it to end. Make sure you got Benadryl on deck. Okay.
Or
So
an EpiPen.
or an EpiPen. Won't
Cause
know the won't know the extent. Won't know the extent.
that yeah. All
Go
right.
with it. Okay, so y'all, this topic of the importance of marriage. This is why this is coming up. So on Instagram, I saw this post. I don't remember the post. Is the post itself wasn't important. There was a guy who made a comment about he was trying to like basically saying the post I know was about women, and so of course men were all up in through the comments. But his comment was like essentially he was saying like if women could have the man of their dreams, that's who they would choose. Fine, but his analogy metaphor, because I don't remember which specific, but was if a what would you choose to be homeless if you could have a house? And I was just like, so if we're equating homelessness, if being single is homelessness, but this post is about relationships, that's not a house. So I was like, your analogy is flawed. I was like, your metaphor is flawed, and that's all I was gonna leave it. Right after that, of course, this one other dude, whole nother somebody, was like, you deflecting. I wasn't even gonna entertain that because I was not deflecting. I'm just saying that if that's your argument and that's how you try to make this relatable, it's flawed. So I wasn't even gonna entertain that. Of course, he got all these up likes because echo chamber people on social media got to be stroking each other, all these likes. Yeah, yeah, bro. Especially with all this gender war nonsense. I'm not getting into it. But the actual guy I was responding to was like, "How is it flawed?" Right? Thank you for asking. I like to believe that people are asking in good faith. So I was like, "Here's the thing." I said, "If being single is homeless, being getting a house is not a relationship. That's a marriage." I was like, renting an apartment would be a relationship. Because if single is for the streets, aka homeless, fine. Then in a relationship would be an apartment because it's renting, it's temporary, there's no guarantee. Buying a house with a 20 to 30-year mortgage is a marriage. Like, even if we want to go on the average length of a marriage, it's 20 to 30, like, not the early whatever. I'm saying, like, most people now aren't even get married till they're in their 30s. So if we talking 20, 30 years, you anticipate at the minimum, if you're getting in a marriage, that's a marriage. And he was like, so he and I continued to then have a civilized conversation. And the other dude who later, I guess, was like checking the comments, Mr. called me a deflector, was just like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. He was like, but everybody doesn't want to get married. That doesn't change the hierarchy. Everybody's not going to buy a house. Everybody does not want to buy a house. That does not mean that buying a house is suddenly no longer an option because you don't want to do it. If you want to spend your whole life renting, you can. That does not eliminate the fact of buying a house is still an option. If you decide that you want to spend your whole life in a townhouse, that does not mean that a single family suddenly don't exist. If you always need a 2 bedroom, that doesn't mean 5 bedrooms don't exist. See, and that is why I'm here to talk, because this mentality that marriage doesn't exist suddenly, even if the amount of people getting married is lower, even if the marriage rate is decreasing or people are getting married later, it's still a thing. Marriage is still a thing. So that is why this conversation we are having, because we need to remember there is a hierarchy in relationships, and marriage is the pinnacle top in most societies of that relationship, and being single down here. Okay. And there are levels in between, from dating to friends with benefits to in a relationship to whatever. But
Right. See, but this is my thing to that. If that was the case, because, and I could be wrong, but I have the feeling that this would be the same person that would say, oh, if you're 35, 30 plus and you're not married, then your value has decreased, um exit out, whatever. I feel like that's the same type of person who said all the extra, the deflection. I feel like he would be the same one to say something like that. um and it's only because of the craziness that we hear everybody with a microphone that shouldn't have one have. In real life, do we understand where marriage came from, why it happened? Absolutely. Absolutely. We get it. We know. But it is what it is. And we can't change the history. We clearly can't change the history. And in all honesty, as far as certain things, for the marriage itself, why would you want to? Otherwise, everybody be well, not that a lot of people not already. There'll be so many more people with the goal of just having families every which way, everywhere, with any and everybody. And that would be the goal. Now, for some crazy reason, for some people, that has been their goal, and I don't understand that to begin with. I was just talking to one of my children in reference to some life decisions that they were making, and I kind of had to smack them with a reality check. Like, now you're entering, we started talking about relationships, and I told, now you're entering into a space of romantic relationship, of adulthood. These are things, when you're entering that space, it's our job as your parents to have these conversations with you and what this could possibly look like for you now and 20 years from now. If you're doing something to run away from something else, it's not going to work. If I said, because running from relationship to relationship, it's not good. Running from situation to situation is not good. Thinking, oh, well, I like this person, but I'm going this way, but as soon as something happens, I'm gonna go the other way. But then you realize those same problems exist on the other side. All of those phrases, grass is not green on the other side. You got to worry on law. All that stuff comes into play, especially when you start talking about romantic relationships and that responsibility and what that looks like. But on the other side of it, for those of us who do believe in God, for this queer Christian woman, there is a hierarchy in being a married woman. If it wasn't then, and it still exists from way back then, BC, to now, even though some things have changed in reference to the amount of wives depending on your religion and things like that. But the ultimate goal is marriage. Like, that never changed. That never changed. The position that status of a relationship has not changed. No matter, and the thing is, it is important for us to remember, because if it's not that, then what? Are we talking about just being in a relationship with one person? You're just talking about being monogamous with one person forever. Okay, that's great. But you have no rights, you have no say so, you have no nothing. Just because you've been with this person. Do you not know how many times or how many stories there are people who have had those quote unquote common law marriages? They're
they
not
don't
legal.
even exist anymore. They don't even exist
They're
anymore.
not legal. baby. So yes, you spent all this time, you invest all this energy, you invest all of this into this person, and you yourself have absolutely no benefit of it other than to say, yeah, I spent that time with them. You have no rights to say, no, save their life or pull the plug. Like, it's so much more to it. And it's other things. When they pass away, who says what happens? Outside of reaping, I'm not talking about wills and receiving, what's due to you, benefits and all that from someone passing away. But that's a thing too.
My thing is this: you can, and real talk, and I'm gonna say this as a person who spent a lot of my life not wanting to get married. So this is, I've looked at this from the logical and pragmatic, and I've also looked at it from an emotional. I've looked at it from all different sides. My thing is this: you can you can do all of the marriage stuff if you want to take that extra step. You can go to the courthouse and put stuff in wills. You can sign somebody as a power of attorney over you if something happens. You can do all of the stuff. My thing is this, but that still does not change the social the social hierarchy structure of where marriage stands. It doesn't change it. It doesn't move it. It does not move it. And again, if you don't want to get married, fine, but you're not gonna take that away that it doesn't exist or it doesn't have merit or it's not
Don't try to
important
devalue it because it's not what you want.
because it's not what you want. And I
And
say this again as someone who spends a long time, a very long time, not wanting to get married. Like when we started this podcast, that's where I was. And it's the truth of the matter is only until the past 2-3 years have I even entertained the thought. And there's different reasons for why I didn't want to get married. That's a one for another time. But I never did not value it. I never did not go, oh, it's not all that. It's not whatever. Because, like she said, there are legalities that just automatically come. You can do that if you want, but it's the difference of
that's
the
simple
people
piece
like
of paper.
the people like using analogies. It's the difference of going to a place and going to a buffet where you have to pick, I gotta get this, and gotta get this, and gotta get this, versus just saying, give me the steak and salad platter. And it all comes together, right? Versus you having to order individually and now it's literally can be costing you more because the steak and salad is $29.99 for you to get all of the stuff that comes with that, the mashed potatoes, the greens, the peas, the steak itself, all of
Everything
this.
so a la carte.
If you're doing everything a la carte, you're now looking at $75 to get the same platter. So again, I'm saying this for the people who are like, yo, not for marriage. Listen, we always say, think for yourself, do what's good for you in your life. But we do not devalue what's been established.
Right.
Is my big thing on this.
Right. And for me, the analogy of the house, though, like, I was, when she first told me, I was like, wait, what? Hold up. See, and I say that because I have always wanted to be married. I had y'all. If I tell y'all the vision for my life that I
Listen,
had,
listen.
it was. Thank you, Esther. Thank you. It would have been great. The vision that I had for my life was I was gonna have my high school sweetheart. We were gonna be boyfriend and girlfriend, and then we were gonna go do whatever we were gonna do because I didn't think I wasn't going to college. I was going to tour with Janet Jackson. Okay, so college was never where I was going. Never in my head. I'm going on tour. Uh, so it was while I'm touring, he'll be in college. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. About 4 years from there, we're gonna get married, if not two, while we're making it work. We're getting married. I'm married by 25. We have one child, live in a high rise in the city, and I now own a studio slash theater in the middle of downtown DC, and we run the business together. Or he does whatever the hell he does. I really, I'm be honest, I didn't care what he did. I knew what I wanted to do. And that was my plan. And the Lord said, so,
Listen,
ah, but
listen.
marriage was always a thing. But if you listen, I wanted to be in a high rise. If I was not getting married, I literally told my mom was like, yeah, Michelle, I want you to get a house. I don't want a house. I wanted an apartment with all utilities included. That way I had no whole bunch of bills. I had my apartment, my food, and back then I didn't believe in car notes. So I would own my car. So my car note would be my car insurance. What do you mean? That was my I once I realized that high school sweetheart marriage tour thing won't happen, that dream switched real quick to me. It's gonna be me, and the less bills, the more money I had. That's what that changed to. I didn't want a house. Somebody mentioned a house. It was, have you lost your mind? I'm not gonna lie. I did not start wanting a house until I got married.
But you realize even if you wanted a high rise, it's not like you were like, oh, houses don't exist. Oh,
Right.
houses aren't worth
That
anything. Houses have no value.
like what? And then a high rise in the city. Do you know how much money that costs? Thank you. Thank you. That clearly they know. Like what? And that's no reason. But I knew I was going to do that by myself. I knew that was going to take two incomes. I knew that was going to
Yeah.
be a us thing. Now,
And
if
for
that
me,
wasn't his dream, I don't know what to tell you because he was going to be mine, and we were going to do what I said we are going to do. But like, but in reference to the analogy, it's just like what do you mean? Like being single is homeless? Okay, maybe some out. I don't know, some outrageous train of thought. Maybe he meant being single is being homeless, like you don't have a covering.
I
But
don't think
even
he
in,
was being that deep about it. But we can give him grace if you want to give grace.
I
We can
mean,
give
look,
grace.
I'm trying to like try a different side, like try a different angle. Um, and in that case, I can see a point in that. Maybe okay. But when you get into a relationship, that's a house. Like
That's a jump.
that's
That's
a
a
huge
jump.
commitment for somebody you just met. What, like somebody that you're just getting to know? Because even when you decide to say yes, we're going to be in this relationship, it ain't most times. It's not after 2-3 years of y'all knowing each other.
Right.
Most times it's after a few months where that conversation starts to take place. Hey, what are we doing? Is this a we thing? Like, where do we see ourselves? So at that point, was that them signing the mortgage? Cause
I don't understand how you went from
I,
homeless to. I don't
because
know
when
how.
I was single, I was still paying my own cell phone bill. I was still paying my own rent. I was still paying all of this stuff. And I'm in a relationship. I'm still paying all of this stuff. But when I'm married, the for me, those responsibilities shift.
I just don't. I took homeless as being for the streets, and I said, okay, fine. But
Okay.
you still, to me, do not jump from that to a mortgage.
To
Like
the house on the
there's,
hill.
there's no renting. Like renting's not a thing. Like we just gonna act like that's not real. Like that's not a part of the housing hierarchy either. It was just no. My thing for me, marriage was always this. I never really wanted to get married. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, it was because when I was a good 12, looking around, right? Because you starting to get hormones, all that stuff, puberty coming on. And I looked like I gotta choose from these dudes. I choose me. I'm gonna say no. No, thank you. I don't want to get married. And I will never forget the conversation I had with my grandmother when I told her, because my grandmother had 5 children. Right? My mom's mom had 5 children. And I was like, I'm gonna be like you now. I want to have 5 kids. I want a big family because I want that love. And she was like, okay, well, Vonnie, what about your husband? I said, my what now? My who? My huh? Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Why would I do that? This was 12-year-old me, y'all. I was like, why would I do that? Right? Okay, so then when I turned about 14 and I started really looking around, got a little older, I said, 5 sounds excessive. Maybe we'll do 3. Because my other grandmother had 3 kids. And I said, you know what, that seems more reasonable, right? Because I'm now going through health class and pregnancy, learning what that is. And I was like, 5 is excessive. We may be pregnant 3 times. 3. We can do this 3. Thrice.
That's crazy because when I heard that, I said, "Oh, one."
Yeah, I was like thrice. And it was
Is
still but it was because I think part of it is because I'm an only child. So it was like, I want children. I want that love. But 5 was too much. So I said I was going to do 3. And I still was like, what husband? Now, I did want all 3 of them to have the same father. Me being me, and I know my sister gonna laugh, but this is who I am. Me being me, around my good college years of 18 to 22, I was still on my 3. I was still on my 3. That's still my ideal. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but that's still on my 3. And I was like, I do want them all to have the same father. Now, I think the way to do this is to get a contract signed, right? Like, let's do this contract. Let me find a dude that's willing to sign this contract, and I can just say, listen, because in my mind, I was gonna have my first kid at like 23, the next one at 26, the last one at 28. I was gonna bust these things out, 5 years, done. You can do what you want after that, sir, but them 3 is mine. You can't have any kids before mine. You can't have any while we're in the middle of this, because we're gonna have to be having unprotected sex, and I don't need to be worried about you out here. After my last one, if you think you can afford to have another child, you go do you, bro. This was my mind, right? Because I'm a logical person. So we gonna sign contracts that says this is the parent clause, right? Like the Santa Claus, this is the parents clause, and this is what you need to figure out. That was who I was. That was me. I was that person. And I guess it's the same way with like a marriage to me in a way, because yes, there's the marriage that the state gives you, but you can always write your own marriage contract. Quite frankly, as long as you get it notarized. And I was that person, because you can put whatever in there that you want and get it signed on and the dotted line. But for me,
Well,
that was my thing.
what
I
she was
never,
saying is she was gonna Christian Grey your ass.
I absolutely before Christian Grey was a thing, because wanted I never wanted any of the stuff that you see on social media with all these people panicked and mad at baby daddies. No. Because we sat down in our right minds, signed some contract, got them notarized. So you can't sit here and act like, oh, it was just in the heat of the moment. Wasn't no heat in the moment while we were sitting at a table signing papers. Baby, what heat was you feeling? Was the heat on? It was cold? No. Um, my change in wanting to get married came around 25. Because again, my first kid I wanted at 23. And I remember when I turned 23, I looked around like, I am not ready for no babies. We not ready. I don't even like none of these dudes in here. So I'm not ready for marriage. So my coming to wanting to be married was also finding men that I found worthy to be husbands. Gonna call it what it is. And right now I'm in a situation with somebody that I see that potential in, which makes me not even want to get married from like a logical, like, hierarchical structure, but like, I want to be your wife. I want to be you be my husband. I want to be there and do the whole family thing and cuteness. Um, but for me initially, the reason I didn't want to get married, because I looked around at my peers and I said, God no. God, take it back. Take it back. Take it back. Okay? Take it back. But even with that, I never did not value marriage. I always valued marriage. It was just, if this is what I got to choose from, y'all can keep
Right, I get it. It's just sad, but I guess it's always been a thing, even from before, because that's where bastards and all of that
it.
stuff came from. Um, but it's sad that again, all these years later, it's still the same crazy nonsense being spoken in reference to marriage. Like, what marriage do to y'all? Like, why y'all so angry at people wanting to spend their life with one person? And I don't want to hear, oh, it's not natural. Well, clearly it's natural to some people. So what is the problem? What why is that a problem? Oh, it's a problem because is it a problem because you lack the discipline?
Mm.
Is it a problem because you lack the idea? Like what did marriage do to y'all? Now I can no, I guess I can understand if maybe you came from a nuclear family and it was just not, you never saw a good example. Well, that's 1 plus 1 equals 2 to me. I can understand why that is your thought process. Okay. But I'm talking about y'all people who your mama was nothing but a baby mama. Y'all people who daddy was nothing but a baby daddy, a booty call, a friend with benefits. Why you upset with marriage? Like what? What? Oh, what you mean you can't do that? Why? So okay, you can't do marriage. You don't value marriage, or you don't think marriage should be held on this pedestal that is held on. Okay, so singleness should be, dating all over the place should be, or having baby mamas and baby daddies. What should be up top then?
What's your aspiration?
What should be the standard? like, what should be the goal?
Yeah.
What should be the goal in reference to a healthy family?
And
Because
part
if
of
you
what
can explain that to me, where it again 1 plus 1 equals 2, okay, I can see that. But I don't see that without the ideal of marriage. I don't see that without that idea. Oh well, I don't want to do the legal stuff. Okay, you don't want to do the legal stuff, great. But you want someone to stay with you through thick and thin. You want someone to be there through sickness and health, through your richer and poor, through better or worse.
you want
Help
a
you
spouse.
raise the kids, be there for the children, be supportive in, not cheat on you.
Right. All of the
But
things.
as soon as you put a title on it called marriage, now it's a problem. Make that make sense. Oh, I don't deal with hierarchies. You lying. You go to work. And if you don't go to work, okay, let's say you own your business. You are at the top of that. There is still a hierarchy, baby. So this idea that you have of not living in that type of environment is, I'm sorry, you're delusional.
What was disappointing to me about it was these were black people. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Always black people.
It is, but I'm gonna tell you why that's the most disappointing to me. Because a lot of you are the same people who quick to bring up slavery whenever some white person ticks you off. Whenever something bad happens, you quick to my ancestors, the ancestors, the ancestors, my ancestors, all the ancestors. Your you really think your ancestors are proud of you running here, there, and everywhere, having kids all over and about town? Because the thing about it that's funny to me is y'all so quick to, because this was again, these are people talking about everybody that's inspired to marriage. Marriage isn't this, marriage isn't this. But during slavery, they would kill people who were married. They broke up families intentionally. They did not want slaves to get married because it holds so much. And now y'all, 400 years later, are happily like, oh yeah, I don't marry you. I just have a bunch of kids all over the place. Y'all are doing voluntarily what was forced upon the ancestors you talk so much about. That's the part that's crazy unto me. That's the part that's crazy unto me. You
I
sit
was
up
like, do you
here.
not know how many of your ancestors were actually married and couldn't stay anywhere near their wives or children, or their children were snatched away from them? But you never heard them say, "Oh, won't get married."
People hid their marriages because they knew if they got found out that they were married, they were going to break them up. This is why it was so, this is why I was like, yo, we need to talk about the importance of marriage because I hear all of this. I don't want to get married. And the reasoning to me is trash. Like I would be. And again, you don't have to justify your reasons to me. But what if we get divorced? She gonna come after my money. Pause. So you have an issue with her coming after your money as your ex-wife, but you don't have a problem with her coming after your money as your baby mama.
Oh no, they got a problem with that too.
But this is okay, but to that point then. But to that point. So you're not willing to risk getting married because you might get divorced. Not a guarantee. You might get divorced. But you're okay risking having sex with this woman when you might get a child that will also take your money.
Yes.
It doesn't make it make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but I'm telling you, their answer would literally be yes, because they had fun for 5 minutes.
These are the things that make no sense to me and that I needed to bring to the couch because y'all, come on. Come on.
Like my parents, y'all hear me talk about this all the time. Wait until I was damn near 40. I'm 40 now. My parents been married for 4 years. Everybody who knows us, when we told them, and I mean everybody from like friends from high school, friends from elementary school, co-workers, my old bosses. I told them, oh yeah, my parents are getting married. Do you know the confusion that was on their faces? What you mean? Remarried? Oh, they renewed? No, my parents were never married. You wait, Michelle. But they were always together. They were. It did. You can't say that marriage doesn't have value, and then when you tell people things like that, everybody's like, "But wait, I thought they were already." Because they was always together. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, fine, I guess. Congratulations. And it, like I told you, it took me a while to wrap my head around it because it was like I don't think I want my parents to be married. I'm not used to them being married. Why would they do that? I had to do some work for my own self as their child and ask myself, why would you not want your parents to be married? Like realistically, like they should have been married, like duh. But you know, they was doing them, whatever, and whatever that looked like. But they kept us first, and no matter what, we were a family. Even with my siblings that came after me and Erica, those are my mama's babies. Okay, and don't mess with them because she coming, and so is they mama. So it was always that. That's why I tell people I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. Um, it's that type of outlook on it where you go, oh, I thought they'd been. Oh, this is that and the other, and okay, so why that expectation if if it's not important? If it wasn't important, I'm gonna be honest. My daddy wouldn't have done it to begin with. My daddy wouldn't have done it even in his late days if it wasn't important. Now, did my dad know the importance of it? Yes. But what really got to him was the fact of, like we said, at the end, if something was to happen, who is there? Because if you even go in reference to his children, his oldest set at the time, the oldest son, our oldest sibling is gone. He passed away, he's a baby. The next the oldest, baby, we don't know if we will have to find him first. We reconnected during that time with my next sibling, and I do believe he would have done right. But at the time, if something would have happened back then, we wouldn't have known. Then my sister, girl, what, who, and that's my other sister. Treat her like, who's that? They completely forget about her all the time. It's crazy. I'd be like, y'all know it's 4 of us. Like, for real. They were like, no, what? So there's that, and then there's me. But by law, it would literally have to go through all those people before I even got touched.
Right. Yeah.
Before I even got touched. Meanwhile, my mama would have been over here, the person who's been here, literally, through everything, would have had no say so in nothing. And vice versa. Well, my mom's a little bit different. But vice versa, because she only got 3 kids. And we all together, we know. Okay? So it at the end of the day, it just didn't make sense for this not to happen. And it eats it eats so much legally for both of them. Now, did that create other burdens legally? Trying to make sure things are still in order, XYZ, yes. But the biggest and most important, as far as who is making decisions, who is that hierarchy person, who are we going to, is established. But that's also why, see, I feel like people feel like this because y'all been tying y'all asses to the wrong people too soon.
That's what it is. That's the big. That's the big. That's the big. That's the big. It's that, and it's also a combination that people don't really value each other. Men value their money. Well, people, I won't even just put this on men. People value money and material more than they value the person that they're dealing with, more than they value the person that they're with. And when that's the case, then it's easy for you to say, oh, I don't see the point in getting married. Marriage benefits women more than men, which is statistically been proven to just not be true. Like research has shown that's just not true.
And
But
that's just, you could just go base that off of health benefits in itself, but never mind.
never mind. It all of this narration that people hear and all of the fear, but I don't know. I feel like listen, every
Fear
people need
speaks
feedback.
loud, and I think that is something that should be addressed. Fear speaks so loud. Fear speaks over everything. It can speak over everything if you allow it. And I think that's what has happened. A lot of people who are letting their fears speak. Nobody wants to be brave. And if you're brave, then oh my God, what's wrong with you?
Nobody wants to be brave. Nobody wants to have faith. Nobody wants to, and this coming from somebody with major trust issues. Okay, this is coming from someone with trust issues. I have trust issues. Hello, I have abandonment issues. Hi, this is me, and I'm saying this to you as someone though whose best relationships have been distant. And my current situation is distance. And I think part of it is because at some point you have to hit fuck it. And it's easier for me to hit fuck it when you are across an ocean. Because at the end of the day, what I know to be true, this is logic, not emotion. Because a lot of people like to say, oh, women are emotional. Here's the logical truth behind it. The arguments that I've heard as far as like, oh, distance doesn't work because he could cheat. Somebody can cheat on you if they're in the same house, if they in the same city, if they're in the same state, if they're in the same country. That has nothing to do. Distance does not dictate somebody's character. It doesn't. Oh, he could be talking to somebody else. Same as I just said before, all of this could still hold true. Like you have to get to a point of I'm gonna trust you until you give me a reason not to.
That's it. That's it.
And I'm gonna trust myself. And I think that's the other part. I'm gonna trust myself to have enough spirit of discernment to know certain things, and leave if I see tail signs of certain things.
that, and also I'm gonna have enough trust and faith in my Lord that if this is wrong, He gonna do everything that He know He gonna do to say, "Hey, I don't want you over there." Now, does that mean He won't let you? He definitely will because you have choices, but that don't mean He won't warn you. But you do have to be listening and watching and paying attention because you can't be believing God for something, but you're not paying attention. What? I'm believing God gonna heal me, but I ain't paying attention to what the doctor said I should do. I ain't paying attention to this book that they keep coming across my timeline that's literally speaking to the illness that they claim that I have. What? institute the profession. What? What? That don't make sense. Like, he put doctors in place too, right? Like that. Like what? So y'all, we just gotta do better, y'all. This is frustrating, y'all know that y'all don't be thinking, and
I'm
this
just
is
gonna
coming
say,
from an overthinker, like
yeah,
somebody that truly overthinks. But I just need for us to think a little bit. A little bit. And like I said, it is saddening because a lot of this does come from the Black community. I very rarely have ever heard a white person, a Jewish person, a
I'll
Spanish
agree with you. I
person.
will agree with you on the Jewish, but white, no. This a whole issue with
No,
that's a
no, say, oh, I don't want to get married.
no. So happens. No, I am too. No, I've heard it because right now a lot of what's happening with white women is them. Oh my god, I have so
See,
many things.
I haven't heard
No,
this.
I've heard it. I've heard a lot of it. It's out there. It's out there. I think you may not run in the circles there. You see it. I've seen it. I've heard it. It's definitely out there. There's this whole push on the gender wars are bad for black and white. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad for them too. It's this whole thing of oh my god, we especially with the new administration. Oh my god, you would think that every man out here is a sexual assaulter and a rapist at this point.
What?
That's I'm a trust me when I tell you. We gotta have that conversation later. We're gonna have this conversation after. I just want to clarify that this is not exclusive to the black community. I'm merely stating this from the black community because that was the person who commented. That's what I am. That's what I
Oh, I'm
see.
not saying it's exclusive. I'm not saying it never happens. I'm
Oh
just
no, but
saying
I'm saying it's a
I
big
don't.
no, it's
More
a big
often than
issue.
not, that's not what I hear from them. That's not what I hear. I hear that the most from us. I
No, it's just as big. Trust, it's just as big. Trust me, it's
and
just as
maybe
big.
I don't hang around enough Caucasians.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Trust me when I tell you, it's the same. It's the exact same, if not slightly worse. To be honest, it's about the same. What it
Really?
is what I'm gonna tell you what the difference is. What it is in the black community, you have men who are like, "Oh, I don't ever want to get married. I never ever want to get married." On the white side, it's women. It's women who are like, "Oh no, I don't ever want to get married," and men just take advantage of women, and they do. It's in feminism. That it's the opposite sides. It's the
And,
opposite side.
and that would make sense because I don't hang out with them.
It's the opposite sides. It's the opposite sides.
But is that more of them being the victim, the standard white woman victim mentality?
Yes, it is, and we can have that conversation. Yep,
Okay. Yeah.
that's pretty much what that is. It's a lot of that. We can have that. We can talk
Okay.
about that. But yes, so my to conclude for me, you guys, stop being in fear of things. Okay, like stop. We got to stop with the fear of the potential of what could happen. You got to, as much as black people quick to talk, man, I say, fuck it, hit fuck it on the right times, right? Like, trust yourself, trust your heart, trust the person that's with you, that you've decided to be with, that you asked to be with, trust them. And if you don't trust them on that level, leave. Real talk.
That part. And please understand, my last part before we cheers to that is that part. We are not saying be blindly ignorant
Nope.
to who a person presents themselves as and what you see. We are not saying be blind to that. But what we are saying is don't give up on marriage because of the foolishness that's out here. That's it. Be aware. We know everybody not right, y'all. I'm not right all the time, okay? So, and I consider myself to be a pretty good person, but I know I'm not right sometimes. So, recognize that, recognize flaws, recognize nobody's perfect, recognize that, but don't devalue something because you haven't found what you are looking for.
Yes.
And on that note,
Lord.
Cheers to that.
I hope it was good.
Oh, that was rough.
Okay, so we want to give you a review since it was
No,
rough.
I'm passing.
You gonna pass, no smash?
I'm not smashing this. This is our cheers to that wine review for those who are new. Where we rate the wines not by numbers but by smashing the grape or passing on the grape. We call it our smash or pass. Clearly smashing we like, passing we don't. But you'll get our official number ratings at the wine out that happens live on YouTube and Instagram at the end of the month. So, with all that being said, I think this is Lolly. Lowly. Lolli.
That's like lolly. I think lolly.
Okay, that part. This is giving dessert wine.
Oh, is that sweet? Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah. And I don't even think the sweetness is the issue for me. It's the fruitiness. It's too fruity. Like, when I taste the wine, like I know wines have fruits in them, but this tastes like cheesy fruit. Like something that's like, you just threw a whole but I didn't even put my thumb up.
Woo!
Oh
Yeah.
God. Yeah, this tastes like, oh, you tried it.
It tastes like a lollipop, which is probably where lolly comes from. That's my thought. That's
like a tart lollipop.
Oh. Okay.
Or a stale lollipop. Girl, I ain't had a lollipop in a long time. I'm trying to remember what they taste like.
Man, they were too sweet. They were too much for me. That was too much sugar. I don't like lollipops.
I like blow pops.
I like the big ones. The big round ones. Anyway. Not today.
Look, I was already trying to keep it clean when I was talking about lollipops, but you took it there. You took it. I couldn't.
You not gonna put this on me like I'm the bad person. Anyway. So anyway, with this Flora Lisa, this Pinot Grigio, I would pass on this. I'm here for the 12.5, but I realize in reading this, it says the wine has a straw yellow color, is aromatic, highly complex, with notes of pear and jasmine. And I think it's the jasmine. It's a bite to it after. And honestly, I also realized I'm not a huge Pinot Grigio fan. Like
I am starting to realize that too.
Yeah, the more we've had stuff, and I remember a couple years ago we did like Pinot May or something like that. I think we did a month of Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, and I feel like we like the Pinot Gris and not the Pinot Grigio.
Grigio, yeah, yeah. This is. I mean, it's all right. It's all right. I'm not. I'm not a huge fan. I would pass on this.
Okay, well,
I'm glad that your tablet approves of my pass.
I think AI is agreeing with us. I don't know what's happening. Okay, well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to say thank you for joining us on another wonderful episode of A Little Something, the number 2. Wine About. I am your hostess, Ty and Michelle.
And I am Siobhan Camille.
Be sure to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, comment down below. Do you still value marriage or do you not? And let us know why. We'd like to talk to you. We talk about it. Have a nice conversation, deliberation, back and forth, information. I'm tired. Don't pay me any mind. So you can join us each and every week at 12 noon for more laughs, more fun, and of course, more wine. And remember, as always,
there's nothing wrong with a little wine.
Or
a lot.
Two. see y'all next week.